Hi everyone, and thank you once again for taking a few moments to watch this video, which today I wanted to talk about leaping out of employee status and becoming a business owner. A journey that I'm very familiar with over the last 10 years because I started two very different businesses, which I'll talk about in a minute. But why I wanted to put this video together was because, well, I'm having this conversation a lot. More and more of you are wanting to move away from that employee structure and going out, doing it yourself, starting a business, perhaps taking some control back. I'm going to talk about my journey and I'm going to give you 6 keys that I wish I knew when I started my first business 10 years ago. Now look, before, as always, I dive into this, it would mean so much if you could like this video and subscribe to the channel. It really does help me get this message out to a greater audience. So like the video, subscribe to the channel, share it amongst your community. It would mean a lot. So let's talk about this idea of moving away from employee and becoming a business owner. Definitely a big shift to this mindset of business ownership. This word entrepreneur, we're going to talk about that. But really it's around what do I need to do to actually start a business? Look, it's a topic that's very deep. And this is really the 6 keys to get you going. Because we can go down the rabbit hole very quickly on a lot of the areas because it's really complex. There's a lot of moving parts to starting a business. But some of these 6 you might not have thought about before. So we're going to talk to these 6 keys to help you move away from employee and becoming a business owner. A little bit about my background though. Why has business ownership kind of been the space that I need to be in? Well, if I think back to even when I was 12 years old, I always had this business ownership, let's say it, entrepreneurial mindset. And I didn't really think about it at the time. It wasn't until probably 10 years ago when I started the first investment advisory business that I started to think, this has kind of always been in my DNA. You know, I remember when I was 12 years old walking up and down the street where we lived, knocking on doors and asking if I could wash people's cars for about $3, which was a lot of money at the time, and especially to a 12-year-old. And then I also remember around the same sort of age, at school, we had a delivery truck that would come every day filled with cakes and pies and pasties, those sort of things, delivering to our canteen. I quickly cottoned on to the fact that, well, these delivery people were pretty pressed for time and a lot of trays of food to carry in. So I volunteered. I said, hey, I'm happy to give you a hand. And then when he gave me $2, I went, interesting. I get $2 for helping this guy transfer some trays. So I started doing it every day. And I'd get $2 every day helping him shift these trays of food. And then that stopped when, well, I quickly realized that there was about 50 other people around me when they'd realized I was getting $2 to carry all this food. The third business, well, we'll just keep this one between you and me, okay? I also remember in my later years of school, for those of you that remember VHS tapes, I worked away to copy movies from the movie store onto a blank VHS tape. And I would copy them and I would sell the movies at school. Again, let's just keep that one on the down low. So I kind of think back and I've always had this business, this entrepreneurial, I guess, mindset. But then I spent, well, the better part of 20 years working in an industry as an employee. And I was always rattling cages, thinking about things differently. And well, for any of you that work in large corporates, you know that that's kind of frowned upon. Most businesses just want you to conform, to fall into the way they do things, their processes. And look, there's often a reason there's a process in place. But I found myself challenging, proposing new ways. They didn't like it. They wanted me just to do as you're told, hit your KPI, your revenue number, and let's just move on. So in 2014, I decided to start my own wealth advisory firm. Affinitas Capital was born. I wanted to start a business that served a certain target market, that was heavily relationship focused, that was very high touch, and for me, did it the way it should be done. And I loved it. I started the business, I learnt a lot, and that's part of what we're going to go through here. I made many mistakes, and I learnt new things. Then in 2019, I had the opportunity to start John Pearl Coaching, which is working with very similar people to that, business owners and professionals, around creating a lifestyle that was going to help them achieve this idea of success. But success was much deeper than just money, than financial. It was about health and well-being. It was about their personal goals, their relationships, their family. So I've set up these two businesses and I've learned a lot through my journey, and I'm always learning. I mean, I kind of feel like someone, even like Richard Branson, is still always learning. So what are these 6 keys? 6 keys for you to start your journey from going as an employee into business ownership. The first one is stop. Tap the brake. Stop thinking about the business for just this first one. You need to spend some time understanding your personal values, your personal why, and your personal end goal, or your idea of success. Our values should drive our actions. At our core, our values should drive the things we say yes and no to. Creating a business in a certain industry or a product or a service that is misaligned with that, well, you're straight away failing from the start. Be clear on your values. Be clear on your personal why and your idea of success, your end goal. Fast forward 10, 20 years, like, what does life look like to you? Physically, relationships, friends and family, financially, assets, everything. Create a vision board. I've spoken about these in the past. Be really clear on what your life is looking like in 5, 10, 20 years' time. And ensure it aligns with your values. If you want to understand more about values, comment below and I'm happy to send you to a link to a place where you can do a great values assessment. But the first step is this. Tap the brake on the business stuff for a second. Get clear on you, on your values, on your why, and on your end goal. That is going to drive the business model, the service, the product, the time you allocate to it. It will drive what the business looks like, or it should. And it didn't for me when I first started. I sacrificed some of my values in the pursuit of growing Affinitas Capital. Something I didn't do with John Pearl Coaching. Don't let your business take control and drive and influence who you are, your values, and the time you spend in your passion space, in with family, whatever your values might be. So now, well, let's go back to business again. What is your why for creating the business, the product or the service or the business itself? What's your why for starting a business? Now, I say there's no right or wrong, but some of these I would challenge clients as to, is this the reason or the best reason for starting a business? But some of the examples might be that you believe that you could do it better, a better service, a more ethical service. You have a product that perhaps isn't in market, or you can deliver it better. Technology that isn't in market, or you can deliver it better. Is it about generating a certain level of income that is perhaps easier to achieve through doing it yourself as opposed to being an employee for someone else? Is it about creating a lifestyle? Taking control back of your time? For me, John Pearl Coaching, a big component of it was that. I lost my way with Affinitas Capital. It was all consuming. John Pearl Coaching has given me that ability back to control my diary, and for me that was so important. So one of the whys for starting the business for me was to help people not make the mistakes that I made around sacrifices on health and well-being from running a business. It was also for me to be a better father and a partner, take control back of my time. So just be really clear on what your why is. If it's financial, that's okay, as long as that number has meaning. So understand your why for starting a business. If it's to prove a point or show someone that you can do it, I would challenge that is that the right headspace to be in when you're wanting to launch a business? So understand your why for starting a business and be crystal clear on that. The third one is a big part of my wheelhouse, and a lot of the time that I spend with clients is around physically, mentally, emotionally. Are you ready for this journey? Starting a business, running a business, even selling a business. Having been through all three, it's rarely easy. There's often significant challenges, stressful moments. If you're not physically able to handle those stresses and pressures, mentally able to handle those stresses and pressures, and emotionally able, then the decisions that you make could be compromised. Just your ability to sleep and balance stress. It is demanding, it is challenging, it's super rewarding. But we need to be operating at our best. If we're sacrificing sleep, making poor food choices, we're not going to have clarity of thought. Are you in a position now to do that? Are you happy with where you are at? Because you need to be firing. You cannot go into this journey feeling not 100%. It takes everything from you to deliver the business that you know you want to deliver well. And so I talk to all my clients about focusing on their nutrition. Let's get that right. Let's look at their mindset, their resilience, ability to handle stress, clarity of thought. And again, emotionally, I'm talking here about how you manage anger and frustration, because these things all bubble up to the surface at various times in starting and running and selling a business. The fourth, and let me switch hats and kind of go back to the wealth world here. I would really encourage you when you're about to push the button and launch into business ownership, shore up your personal balance sheet first. What does this mean? Well, I'm talking about making sure that you have a war chest of cash. For me, I believe 6 months of living expenses minimum. Not going into the launch of a business needing to generate a certain level of income from day one. Expect that there may be no cash flow for a period of time, but also that you may be required to inject more capital into the business over time. And it's a lot of stress and pressure to have on you when you're trying to grow a business, grow a brand, grow a product, your personal brand in the market. And all you can think about in the back of your head is, I need money, I need money, I need money. We could get a little bit woo-woo wah-wah and, well, if all you're putting out to the universe is that I need money, I need money, I need money, I've been there, the universe will not deliver. If what you're asking for is to work with good people, selling a product, selling a service for the right reasons, the universe will deliver. But remove some of those stresses by simply shoring up your personal balance sheet. Have some cash in that war chest. Again, I recommend at least 6 months. But then even going deeper than that, talk to a financial advisor. Make sure things like your will, your estate plan is up to speed. Make sure that your personal insurances, your income protection, your life, your total and permanent disability, all these unfun things need to be addressed before you go into starting a business. You want to go into this in the strongest position possible. And it's about engaging professionals around you as part of this journey. We'll talk about one key person next, but there's more than just the one. So who is this key person? Lucky number 5, like I said, 5 of 6, an accountant that is not just qualified, but is very familiar with working with both business startups, but just clients who are business owners. It is very different from working with an accountant who you've been using for the last 10 years, who was great at perhaps lodging your personal tax return when you were under an employee structure, but well, from day one, you need an accountant that is familiar with setting up a business, ABNs for those of you in Australia. So setting up the company names, what structures, family trusts, companies, self-managed super funds, what are the entities? And here's a top tip. Take note of this. Build for success from day one. Build for success from day one. What I mean here is, don't go into this thinking small. Go into this thinking, I'm going to shoot the lights out. This business is going to work. I am going to hit my revenue targets. And what happens if I surpass them? Because the entity structures required from day one may look very different to going into it thinking, I might make a little bit of income, I'll see how I go. Talk to the accountant, but I believe set up for success from day one. Have that accountant that's proactive in giving advice through the journey, that can support you as your business grows and evolves. But now, let's also talk about the other professionals. Just really quickly, jot these down. You need a lawyer, someone to help you with contracts, for example. Perhaps you're needing to hire people from an early phase of business startup who can help you with that. So having a lawyer is really important as well. A banker, perhaps. You're going to need company bank accounts, so someone that can help you set these up. The last one is a key one and something I didn't think about at all when I started Affinitas Capital. Be clear on what type of leader you want to be. Again, I spent a lot of time working in large corporates where I looked at leadership around me and I'll be honest, I wasn't blown away by most. They had perhaps just been in the machine for too long and their leadership style was either outdated or just didn't resonate with me. I didn't get clear though when I started Affinitas Capital, what kind of leader did I want to be? And I'm talking about a leader at home. When I come home, what kind of human being do I want to be for my family? What kind of leader at home do I want to be? To my clients, or what I call my centers of influence, the people that help provide me with work. What kind of leader do I want to be? Do I want to illustrate and show? And then when you take on team members, that's the biggest leader of all in a business. They're going to look up to you, whether you realize it or not. You may just think, I'm just another guy or I'm just another girl. But you're not. You're now the leader of a business. And they're going to look at you and look up to you perhaps. So what kind of leader are you going to be? Step into that role from day one. Imposter syndrome is a real thing. Get it. We all get it. I still get it. Again, Richard Branson probably still gets it sometimes. That feeling that people are going to catch on that I'm not a serious business leader. I'm not really like an expert. Oh my God, self-doubt. That's totally natural and okay. And what will help with that is surrounding yourself with like-minded, passionate, driven individuals who have maybe trodden the same path as you. But from a leadership, it's about being self-aware. And once you're more self-aware as a leader, you can more effectively lead. Understanding your strengths and weaknesses is key as a leader, and engaging someone to help you with that is super important. Again, hey, comment below. If you're new to leadership or you want to dial up your leadership, make you an industry or business leader, let me know. I can connect you with an amazing individual. Look, these are my 6 keys, and these are things that I wish I knew 10 years ago. There's a whole lot more that goes with it. A whole lot more that goes with stepping out of being an employee into being a business owner, embracing it, succeeding at it. But these are the 6 keys that I wish I knew 10 years ago. So stop and think about your personal self. Be clear on your why for starting a business. Be physically, mentally, and emotionally ready for this journey. It's not always smooth sailing. Shore up your personal balance sheet. What do I mean by that? Get your own affairs in order and watertight. Engage that accountant from day one. They are going to be integral to your success. And lastly, work with someone, a leadership mentor perhaps. Again, comment below. I can steer you in an amazing direction. Be the leader you want to be from day one. Embrace it, embody it, and realize that people are going to look up to you in your industry, in your business, in your family, in your circle. This is a big announcement when you make it to your network, to your community, that you're stepping out of employee into business ownership. But if you address these 6 steps, you'll do it with confidence, and they will have confidence in you. As always, guys, thank you so much for dialing in, watching the video. Remember, like, subscribe, please share. It means a great deal. As always, if you're not on my mailing list, johnpearl.com. Jump on the website, join the mailing list. You'll get all the live announcements when these things happen. Keep well, keep safe.